Cleveland versus Indiana. This series, hey, I feel very proud of Indiana because at the start of the playoffs, I was huge. I was big on them. In the duration of the playoffs, they've done nothing but prove me right. Tyrese Halliburton, like we've spoken on, has done nothing but answer the call to everybody that said he was
He
overrated.
beat
He's
them
done nothing but
allegations,
answer that
baby.
message.
He beat them things.
He beat the
He beat
he
them
beat the
things.
case.
Can I say this? Can I say this? I don't mean to invert. Can I say this right now?
Go ahead.
Even if he does not make the finals this year, because it's not expected for him to make the finals. Let's be clear. Probably now, but when the playoffs started, it wasn't. Nobody expected that.
Right. Absolutely right.
Y'all gotta throw that shit out the window. Excuse my language. Y'all gotta throw that out the window. There's no way this man goes to two consecutive Eastern Conference Finals and is considered overrated. It just doesn't
That,
have it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that for me.
hey, look. So look, I had a conversation with my dogs a few weeks back. I don't know if we ever had this on the show, but I was telling them, I'm like, dog, like, how can anybody call Ant? No, sorry, not how can anybody call Tyrese Halliburton overrated when him and Anthony Edwards have the same resume? When you talk about what they've accomplished as far as playoffs, accomplishments, or getting to a conference finals, you know what I'm saying? Being at the brink of an NBA finals, they both done that. Well, they both been in the Olympics. Now, obviously, Ant Edwards had a bigger role on that Olympic team than Tyrese did, but Tyrese wasn't a is an Olympian, and they had their team right back at the brink, at the doorstep of getting to an NBA finals. And they're, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're the same age. Like they have everything is right there together. Now, obviously, this then it comes to who do you just like more? They like whose game do you like more? Whose personality do you attach yourself with more? And obviously, Ant Edwards seems to have every bit of the charisma that people want in the face of the league. But don't be questioned. Tyrese Halliburton is a star. I think he's fighting to make himself a superstar. And I think the only way he's gonna be able to get that superstar nod is if he goes and makes the NBA finals, which is gonna be a tough one. That's gonna, that's gonna be what it's gonna be. But ultimately, I think Tyrese Halliburton has done everything to this point in his career that he can do to put himself in certain conversations that people are trying to leave him out of.
I honestly think um, that conversation should have never happened in the first place. I mean, you see what he's done in the past 2 years, and like just being the underdog to all these situations, and he's succeeded to his most thing. Mind you, he is also an Olympic gold medalist. Let's not him and it. Let's not come on now. You know what I'm saying? So I
There,
mean, it's just mind boggling me how he went in. Now we can get to the Cleveland part. Um,
yeah.
64 games. Obviously you had one of the best offenses in the league. You had again, just like OKC, you had one of the more like established rosters, and you couldn't get it done. You know, I don't really want to play the blame game for this. I really don't, because I think the media, most importantly, we got to kind of hold ourselves accountable for this too. We kind of look at it from a record base, and we kind of just give other teams sympathy because it's like, oh, they won 64 games. They're playing the Pacers. It'll go to 6 games. But the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not understanding, people like you and I who actually watch the game and watch the flows of the game and understand, like, one, the playoffs is a different season. And two, you know what I'm saying? Teams operate throughout as the season goes. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you are in that seed of like the playoffs and everything. Like a lot of teams adjust. And the Pacers have been like an efficient team for the past 2 years to me with Halliburton on the point. And it's like y'all gotta like understand like this is not the team you want to see. It's like one of them teams where you got in the playoffs where like you don't want to see Indiana. Boston
Uh-huh.
fans was afraid of that. Boston fans was hella afraid of that. They was like, "Yo, y'all played them last year in the East Conference Finals. Y'all don't want to see them boys again this year. Them boys different. They different." And you seen what they did against the 64 win team. You know what I'm saying? They got Halliburton. I mean, they got Miles, and they got like so many key pieces on that team, and they just work. They just work together. They just work cohesively, man. And that's a team that
And,
you really don't want.
and you said something right there. They work cohesively as a team, and this is where how do you get to your numbers? How do you get to your wins? How do you get to your points? This is where it all comes into play because I look at Indiana. Indiana's team ball, but it's team ball on PEDs. they're able to get to their points because, hey, their best player, which is Tyrese Halliburton, isn't the game isn't predicated solely on him getting his first and getting guys going. The offense in and of itself is designed for everybody to touch the rock and for everybody. If the shot is there, hey, you either take it or you roll to the rim. That's how the offense works. So it doesn't. It while it functions while it functions at its best with its best player, it can also survive without their best player consistently having to be the focal point of the offense. Now look at Cleveland. That offense doesn't work if Donovan Mitchell isn't applying the pressure, scoring wise. Because I look at some of their guys like Darius Garland obviously was hurt throughout this for the duration of this series. He missed the first couple of games, I believe, and he was never quite right. So it's hard for me to say anything about him that even thoughts that I had earlier in the playoffs. I won't even put those on him. Like you said, I'm not really here to critique some of those things. But just for the mere fact that when you start going into your other guys like Todd Jerome, Max Strus, those guys. Now Max Strus had a hell like he had a good series for the for the majority until up until that last game. But those guys having to now function as uh, individual entities instead of functioning within the team scope and going from relying on Garland and Mitchell to now having to go rely on some of these other guys to have to, hey, you're gonna have to get up 10 plus shots in this game. Like you ain't gonna be able to just sit in the corner and just, and sit and scope. And I think probably my biggest issue though is their bigs. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Those two guys to me disappointed me a great deal because I didn't feel your presence at all. Evan Mobley, you're a DPOY. Where was your presence in these games when your team really needed you? You had no impact. Jared Allen, who has the one of the worst quotes of all time. I can't remember what playoff it was, but he said, and I quote, "The lights were too bright, too bright for me. Turn them down. Can't see." You know what I'm saying? And it looks like it. He's too nice. He's just too nice of a guy. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't carry around that certain level of dog. Obviously, he has ability, but doesn't carry around that certain level of dog to even impose himself in the flow of a game. And those and a bunch of guys like that to me were the most disappointing throughout the course of this series for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They got a lot of big questions because their roster is really expensive. So some guys ain't gonna be there next year, regardless of whether they want to keep it together or not. So we'll see. But a lot of it ain't looking great for Cleveland as far as moving forward.
Yeah, the ultimate goal is to just to keep Donovan, what I'm saying, happy. And like obviously that team is gonna be very expensive, trying to bring a lot of guys back, a lot of key guys back, a lot of role players. One and first and foremost is Ty Jerome, six man of the year candidate. Darius Garland, he's another guy. So I mean it's just a matter of, uh like their backs against the wall right now. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you really gonna do? So I mean, 64 wins, that's a lot of wins, dude. That's a lot of wins for you to exit that early in the season, man. Like I can understand if it was the Golden State Warriors and like 3-1 in the finals, okay, that's fine. But like 64 games in the semis, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And the biggest issue is that like your best guys weren't available to start the series off. I mean, like when your best guys aren't even there, that's why I even have a hard time even critiquing what I saw out of Cleveland because I'm like, well, the best guys didn't play together for the majority of that series. So um, it is what it is, man. I liken them to every single 50, 60 plus one team we've seen do this before. They're in the same lineage as the 2015 Atlanta Hawks. Like we know what these types of teams, and we know we know when we see them. I kind of have high expectations because Donovan Mitchell's on that team, and I look at him as one of those types of guys, or at least I would like to. But unfortunately for him, I mean, he hasn't been past the conference semis in any year of his career. So it's getting to that point where him is like, hey dog, you know what I'm saying? We got to see something. I hope to see something. So
Mhm.
I don't know, man. I don't